Always excited to bring in our good friend Paul Glantz with us here on the MegaCast. He's the co-founder and chairman of Emagine Entertainment. So glad that you guys are back open for business. Paul, how are you doing?
Doing well. It's a great relief to be open, I can tell you that.
But even though you're open, it's not business as usual. So how are things going?
I would say on balance, it's far better to be open than not be open. And early adopters are coming back. And even though we've got some capacity constraints at this point in time, we've got to start somewhere. And so I remain optimistic that with the rollout of the vaccine and with Hollywood perhaps giving us a little better hand to play later this year, that we will return to the congregate activities we all love.
I will say we find that as we continue into COVID, 11 months into this, there are kind of two camps, those that are afraid to go out and do anything, and the other camp that is like, let me live life. I've never been afraid to go into a movie theater. I'm like, especially, it's actually more enjoyable now because it's not so crowded. So I can get that middle of the movie theater seat that I always want, right? When you go to a theater, it's like, oh, wait, this is where it's prime viewing with prime audio. And so it's actually more pleasurable, in my opinion.
Well, Ronnie, with the advent of all reserved seating, and that's what we offer these days, you can choose your seats in advance on our website or on our app. And so I think even once we see some larger crowds come back, with just a little advanced planning, you can continue to be assured of that favorite seat.
So how are the crowds right now?
They're actually not bad, given all things considered. And here's why I say all things considered. California and New York continue to be fully shut down. And I can't blame the major studios for not wanting to exclusively release their films in theaters while a couple of the biggest markets in the country are shut down. And so I continue to pine for Governors Cuomo and Newsom to loosen the reins on their totalitarian regimes and allow business to resume. I thought it was fascinating the other day to read that Disney, which is based in California, was actually thinking about moving some of its executives to Florida. And you certainly can't blame them because the theme park in Orlando is open and the one in Anaheim has been closed for months.
Yeah, and really it plays into the economy and the thought process of these businesses because there is a lot of money at stake here, behind the scenes for companies. But with that, it is kind of a shame that we are seeing the delay because we do have so many streaming services right now at home. But why is it that when I'm watching something at home, like I fell asleep during Wonder Woman because it was available on HBO Max? I was disappointed in the movie, but had I been in the theater, I would have been more engaged because it's coming at you from all angles and the sound quality is unmatched, even in the best of home theaters. Is this going to be a continuing trend where they're releasing on the streaming devices at the same time with the movie theaters? And what's that mean for you and your industry?
Well, first of all, I completely agree with you that seeing Wonder Woman in a theater would have been a far better experience. And I think the film would have gotten far better reviews had more people seen it in theaters. But again, with certain big markets being closed, I think that you certainly can't blame AT&T, the now owner of Warner Brothers, for taking the tack they've taken. They are going to release all of their 21 lineup, both on HBO Max as well as in theaters. And while that doesn't please me particularly, I am optimistic that we're going to go back to an exclusive theatrical window. And here's why. Even Warner Brothers, who has been most aggressive in their digital releases in an effort to grow their subscriber base, has announced that in 2022, they're going to go back to some exclusive theatrical releases. And so I think that, in fairness, this has been a great time to build a subscriber-based business. But I think that ultimately, there's a far better economic model for producers when they actually have a theatrical release for their films.
So with the subscription-based industry right now, it is really becoming more and more popular. And I know at one time, a movie theater chain did try to do like monthly subscriptions where you paid so much and you could come to all the movies. Do you think that that could be a model that could somehow be adapted to a theater such as yours?
I think that we live in a society where business continues to evolve and grow into ever smaller niches. And in our case, for example, we have what we call our Platinum program, where folks can buy at a discount a number of prepaid tickets, use them as they like, and it comes with a full complement of high-end concierge services. Like you want to come opening night to see Black Widow, and you want to sit in that very specific seat. If you're a Platinum member, we're going to roll out the red carpet for you and make sure you get those very seats. And so, yes, I think there will be models that incorporate the concept of subscriptions, but I think they'll take a lot of different forms. And we certainly learned that the Movie Pass form was not economically viable.
That's what it was called, the Movie Pass. I knew it was something, but I will say I loved how a movie theater chain such as yourself. Like if I'm going to a movie theater, I usually go to yours in Birmingham because it's an experience, and it's not so much about just going in and buying my popcorn and sitting in a seat. It is going in and you have the luxury chairs, and the popcorn tastes better. I don't know if that's true, but it just seems like it does to me. Maybe it's just part of the experience. But so much of your revenue also came from concessions. How vital is that to your industry, even at reduced capacities, to be able to allow for the resumption of concessions during a theater?
Well, there was a period of time up through February 1st where we were precluded from selling food and beverage items. And I can tell you that that's a recipe for losing a lot of money, because honestly, our cost structure is such that without the privilege of offering our guests food and beverage, we just don't have a viable economic model. But you make a very valid point. I would say that the future of our industry is predicated upon being able to provide guests with an exemplary out-of-home entertainment experience. And if we're not doing that for you and for other consumers in the marketplace, then we're going to find ourselves trailing way behind streaming services. But speaking of popcorn, today it's not just about theater popcorn, which you and I can make at home. Now it's cheese corn, it's caramel corn, it's mixing them all together. It's olive oil popcorn, our Olive Pop brand. And then it's about, if you like, even real butter on your popcorn. And so what we're striving to do, Ronnie, is to do something for you, for our guests, that you can't do at home. And that's why, for example, we've built movie screens that are 94 feet wide. Because you know what? I don't care how big your TV is. It ain't 94 feet wide.
It is so true. And it's not just that, it's the experience. And I feel like when you go and you pay, then you are more engaged in that experience as well. Paul, I have to say though, we may have snuck in food. Like it was like milk duds, and you'd eat them under your mask. But
we didn't like the idea of having been deputized to enforce the governor's rules without any compensation. So if we didn't see it, then there's no foul done. No foul.
I'm crossing my fingers when I say that, by the way. But I will say, so Paul, everyone laughs at me, by the way, because when I have people on, such as yourself and the Michigan Restaurant Association, and the governor keeps saying, hey, we have these restrictions in place because you can't wear a mask. So my sister made a mask for us. And it's like a double mask, right? So it's a mask, but I may or may not, when I was eating my popcorn, you just take it, you wear it, right? And then I pull it down, I can eat my popcorn, I can drink through a straw, and then quickly you just put it right back up, right? I mean, it was like perfect.
It's ingenious, I've got to tell you.
Made for a movie theater.
It really is.
And you can wash it. And it's organic cotton. She's all about organic. I'm like, what?
Beautiful.
But it was perfect for the movie theater because we felt like we were getting away with something.
Well, again, I didn't hear it. It's okay at this point, you know. Well, though I hope when you come back next time we can allow you to partake of our food and beverage offerings.
You know, and it really is about the experience. But we need Hollywood to get behind trying to release some of these big blockbusters because, you know, like the 009, you know, James Bond, I'm not watching James Bond at home. I need to see that on the big theater. And as they continue to delay these, if it continues for the next 6 months or the next year, how big of an impact is that going to have overall on the movie theater industry?
You know, I have misjudged the duration of this situation on multiple occasions. However, at this point, I feel pretty confident that we're going to have a return to some modicum of normalcy come 4th of July weekend. And the reason I say that is that Paramount is firmly committed to releasing their film Top Gun 2. And that too is a film that everyone wants to see on the big screen. And so I think that what we need is a spark to reignite the flame of movie going. And I'm looking at this point in time to July 4th weekend saying, gee, by that time, we've got to get enough people vaccinated that that a large percentage of our population will come back. And Paramount is standing firmly behind that date. But I'll tell you this, I think that we've made a terrible mistake with the way we've handled this in Michigan. We've, of course, endeavored to save lives, and you certainly can't argue with the governor's motivation there. But all you have to do is look at the Bridge Magazine analysis of deaths. And essentially, this is a disease that takes older people. And so to have destroyed the economy for those of all ages to protect, when we really should have just protected the elderly, I think it's been a terrible wrongdoing that's been perpetrated upon our state and upon our economy.
Yeah, and you're not the only one to share those sentiments. And while we always share in the compassion and the empathy for those that have been lost to this virus, we also know a lot more now that we knew at the beginning. And there are so many treatments as well. And it's not just about the vaccine. But while I have you on and we're talking about the vaccine, do you think theater workers should maybe be included when it comes to frontline workers, if they're going to include restaurant workers into that group to be able for them to get vaccinated?
Well, I would sure hope so. You know, if we're going to vaccinate grocery store workers and retail employees, I mean, our folks are retail teammates, and I would love to give them the opportunity to be vaccinated because, again, you know, the health and safety of our guests and our teammates is of the highest priority to us. And so, yes, if we could move them up in line as essential workers, I think that would be terrific. And I think it'd be a great nod to those people because, you know, we've had to lay off almost all of our teammates and we'd like to bring them back. And of course, we want to bring them back safely.
And plus too, it's that comfort level with the community. If you can say or put up a sign that says our employees have been vaccinated, then it's that level of comfort that people are going to start coming back to the industry and into the movie theaters as well.
Ronnie, I don't mind telling you that one of the things that really bothers me about masks is that in order to be a venue of hospitality, our teammates endeavor to smile and be cordial to our guests. If you can't see a teammate's facial expression, I think it changes the experience for the worse. And so I'd love to see those of our teammates that want to be vaccinated early on so they can take their masks off and smile and express their gratitude to our guests for coming.
Yeah, that is the biggest thing, isn't it? It's like sometimes I want to tell people, no, I'm really smiling at you, you know, underneath the mask, because I'm like with you on that, Paul. When you're a people person, that's probably the biggest thing I think we miss in our community. But also, I know for myself, I personally have stopped doing things because I don't like how wearing a mask in the public makes me feel. Not so much about the other people, but I don't enjoy the experience any longer. And so I will I'll just stay home more or walk out on the trail or enjoy more outdoor outdoor activities because I can do that with the freedom without a mask. And that does play over into industries such as yours.
It surely does. And again, I'm a people person like you are. And this has been a very difficult time, not, of course, just not for me, but for all the folks that, you know, and I've thought most about my teammates who we've had to furlough during this period of time. And the absence of human interaction, I think, had a very deleterious impact on our society. Again, July 4th weekend, I hope it's Katie bar the doors and let's get back to life as we do it, because, you know, life is for the living. And I think it's time to resume our lives.
I love that. I'm going to take that as my quote of the day. Life is for the living. Thank you for sharing it with us. But we also always appreciate you coming on and talking with us as well. Go out to the movies. Anyone out there, it is safe. I know that you and members of your team have done everything and anything to make this a pleasurable and a safe experience for the public.
We have. Thank you so much, Ronnie. Great to be with you.
Well, great to talk to you as well. Paul Glantz with us. He's the co-founder and chairman for Emagine Entertainment. Love going to your theaters. It's not just going to the movies. It's an experience. You by far have some of the best seats around as well.
Thank you. And you know, now the newest ones are heated.
What? Oh, I didn't know that. I need to get in on that experience.
Come on over to Rochester Hills next time or Canton. We've got heated recliners.
That is taking the guest experience to a new level. Paul Glantz with us.